because in spite of your busy schedules, you are here. What do you think? It seems you are not convinced. Today, our gospel story talks about the visitation, and I would like to reflect on about the visitation of Mary to Elizabeth. When we say visitation, we usually see an encounter. And oftentimes, when there are encounters, I think we see some beautiful things would happen. And looking back on the gospel for today, and this encounter, we can see two things. We say encounter, or in Spanish we call it encuentro, or we could say the how do you call it in English? Not only encounter, but there's a relationship between on that encounter. Have you been met, or in your early life you met somebody? Sometimes you have this encounter, first encounter with your loved ones, and then later on it became your ex-wife, ex-boyfriend, and then ex-girlfriend. But if you want to look back on that relationship, you always go back to the first meeting. That's the term that I'm looking for. Meeting, not only encounter, but meeting. But I think the word encounter is more deeper, because as we encounter the Lord, we look back our first encounter to Him. When was your first encounter with the Lord? You don't know? So many events. But I think the most direct encounter that we had in the Lord is in our baptism. Direct. That's why every Sunday, almost every day, we have this encounter with Jesus, with God, isn't it? But looking up on the first encounter, the first meeting with God, of course, we cannot remember those things. But if you imagine, when you have your baby, if you have your babies in you, when you baptize your babies, your children, what is your feeling? What did you see? Did you see, or what is your feeling? Are you feel happy or stressed? Maybe you have so many stress because you prepare a lot of foods. Filipinos without foods is useless, we could say. I think not only Filipinos, but Asians, the most foodie race are the Asian race. That's why when you have this encounter with the Lord, what you feel? That's why, looking back in the gospel once again, there are two attitudes that we can see. First, the encounter of Mary and Elizabeth. What is their attitude? Joy. When you encounter the Lord, when you encounter your loved ones, are you happy? You're not convinced once again. Because sometimes this before Christmas, maybe some of your family members, maybe they are texting you, they are calling you to have an encounter with you. Why? They want Christmas presents. But you see, why were they asking a present? Because they want to experience the joy. We look at in the gospel when Elizabeth heard the greeting of Mary, the baby in the womb of Elizabeth leaped for joy. If the baby in your womb would move, what do you feel? Especially the mothers. You are happy, isn't it? How much more? This one is not only the mother is happy, but the baby in the womb of Elizabeth. Why? Because there is joy. And who is that joy? Jesus. That's why John the Baptist is happy in encountering Jesus through Mary. That's why we have the saying, through Jesus through Mary. And I think that will be our feeling of our encounter with the Lord. That's why when we see each other, I don't know if you are happy when you see us, but for us, we are happy to see you. Despite sometimes of you are not smiling at all, but we are happy to see you. Because we see Jesus in you. That's why our attitude in encountering the Lord must be the feeling of joy. Another thing that we can have in this encounter is a blessing. When we encounter the Lord, we see the first beatitude. What is the beatitude? What is beatitude? If you remember the beatitude, what is the first words in the beatitudes? Blessed are the poor, isn't it? But remember, the first beatitude is in the Gospel of St. Luke, when Elizabeth said, "Blessed are you among women." That's why encountering the Lord is like a beatitude, is a blessing. That's why coming to Mass every Sunday, or we could say every day, is encountering, getting the blessing from the Lord. That's why every visitor that you have, or every visitors that you have, it's a blessing. Is that correct? But if your visitor is too much, I don't know, if they are too much noisy, too much food that they would take into their plate, they are not anymore visitor. But despite of those things, we see that every visitor is a blessing because they would bring this encounter, because they would bring Jesus in you. How much more if a priest would visit you?
More blessing.
More blessing? Or, I don't know, what kind of blessing? But the important thing is, in the encountering the Lord, we can have blessings in life. You have the personal encounter with St. Peregrine. It's a personal one because you will have this veneration to his first-class relic. It's a personal encounter with the saint. And I think this is also true to us as we prepare for this coming Christmas season. Remember, when we say Christmas, it's not only the 25th, correct? But it would extend to until Epiphany, until usually the baptism of the Lord. But for us Filipinos, it would extend to Santo Niño, because the readings is about Christmas, isn't it? That's why anyhow, the important thing is Christmas is not only one day. It extends until January. That's why I do not say belated Merry Christmas when it's 26. I think Australian culture is beautiful because 26 is
Australia Day.
meaning there are a lot of shopping, presents, gifts. See, blessing. We received Jesus on the 25th and we have the 26th, the Boxing Day. It's a beautiful reminder. We received the first gift, spiritual gift, and now we can have the material gift. So did you see the connection? Anyhow, the important thing is that in encountering the Lord, there are two things that we can learn from the gospel for today. We can experience joy and we can receive blessings from God. And we must have these things as we prepare for the coming of the Messiah. Amen.